Hey, Michelle, how's everything going?
Good, Lindsay. How are you?
Great, feeling great. What are we talking about today?
Well, do you ever have trouble with thoughts that cycle around in your head?
Oh my gosh, yes. Of course. Who doesn't? Honestly, who doesn't? Some
That's
people have them more than others, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, I do. What about you, Michelle?
Yeah, I mean, it can happen. I think it's gotten a little bit better recently. I
Good.
don't, I try not to ruminate on things.
Good.
But yeah, it can happen. I mean, Lindsay, what kinds of things stick with you? Is it like more work stuff or personal stuff or both? Like, do you find that there's a pattern?
A lot of work stuff, but on the personal side, if I feel like I've offended someone or hurt someone in some way, that really sticks with me. That really digs at me.
Yeah.
I hate that. Like if I've said something that's made someone feel bad and I inadvertently and I didn't know it, right?
Hmm.
I will ruminate about that and I'll feel like I need to make sure I apologize.
Yeah.
That kind of thing sticks with me for sure.
Yeah, yeah. No, I can be similar. I think we're similar in that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So guys, we're gonna get into a really good listener question dealing with this topic today. But before we do that, we want to remind you to hit follow wherever you're listening to us on All Ears English so that you never miss anything. The episodes come straight to you. Super easy.
Yeah, it's an easy way, guys. Let us come to you, right? We're in the fall season now. This is the time to level up your English before you get into 2024. Just hit follow. We publish 4 days a week over here, and we can be your companions on your way to work, walking your dog, whatever it is you're doing, add All Ears English to your day. Good stuff.
Exactly. Love it. All right. So we do have a listener question today, and this is from Akira, it's on Spotify. So Lindsay, could you read the
Hmm.
question for us?
Yeah, and I love, by the way, that Spotify now lets you ask questions, right?
Yes.
So we have an open question option open for you guys. Anytime you want, you can just type in an episode idea, a question that you have, and we will do our best if it's a good question to feature it. And this one was a good question. So
Yes.
here it is from Akira. Lindsay and Michelle, lovely podcasters. I've been listening to you for 2 years.
Mm,
Woohoo!
nice.
Yay! Amazing, Akira.
Yes.
And I want to ask you about this expression. This X, like blank, the thing, lives in my mind rent free. Thanks in advance and a little heart.
Aw, thank you, Akira. That is a great question. Thank you for listening.
I love that. And I'm so glad Akira asked this because it's very modern. Right,
Yes,
Michelle?
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very, very modern. I don't
Mm.
think that we would have heard this even 5, 10 years
5
ago. I
years.
don't.
No, even, yeah, probably it's come up in the last 3 years or so, 3 to 5 years. Wouldn't you
I
say?
think so. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think so too.
Hmm.
And also to direct you guys, if you want to speak more English, okay, listen
Hmm.
to All Ears English, episode 2066 is 3 ways to speak more English. So another great one. But let's get
Yes.
into it. So apparently this expression can be used in a couple ways, but I'm going to focus us on one particular way that I hear the most, and I have a feeling
Yes.
it's the same one for both of us.
I love that.
I think of
Mhm.
it being a negative expression. Well, if you say something lives in your mind rent free, or don't let something live in your mind rent free, it's like referring to something you can't get out of your head.
Yes.
And in a I mean, you can use it in a positive way. You could, I feel like it has kind of a negative, like,
Yeah.
because you're saying rent free. It's not giving you anything.
It's
It's
not
not
giving you
paying
anything.
anything. So it's
Mhm.
just there doing nothing and kind of being detrimental. What do you think?
Totally, 100%. That's how I interpret this phrase, right? It's not adding any value. It's not paying its way,
Yeah.
right? It doesn't have any use. It's just, I love this expression, it's gnawing at you. It's gnawing at
Ooh.
you.
What a
That's a bonus phrase for today.
Yes. What does that even mean, to gnaw at
To
you?
gnaw, and I would challenge our listeners even more interesting is how do you spell that word? Oh my gosh, good luck. It actually is spelled with a G,
Gee. Yeah.
Gnaw. So, if I think of like a dog gnawing on their bone, it's biting at you.
Yeah, you're
This is
right.
getting very clear, making an image. But yeah, Michelle, what do you think of when you think of gnaw?
Yeah, exactly, like a dog and a bone, right? But if
Yeah,
something's gnawing at you, it's like you can't, it's eating away at
eating
you. It's
at you.
bothering you.
Eating away. Ooh, we're gonna get some good
Yeah.
expressions out of today's episode, Michelle. I'm so excited. That's why our listeners really should have the iOS or Android app today. right? You
Yes.
guys need to know we do have an app for All Ears English. You can listen to every episode there, but then the added value over there is that you get to see the transcripts, tap on keywords, and save them. Okay.
Mhm,
All right,
mhm.
save them to your personal power list. Let's keep going. So I think we conveyed the point. Like this idea, this thing, this memory, or this whatever it is living in your head, not adding value. It's just kind of hurting you a little bit.
Yeah, and you know what's interesting? I looked into this expression a little bit, and there was an article at allthings.how,
Hmm.
and so that was by Bola Sahana from February 26, 2022, and what's interesting is rent-free, it says that it was meant as an insult, and actually, it says in
Hmm.
1999, Ann Landers, you know Ann Landers?
I don't actually. Should
Oh,
I
she's
know that person?
a famous, advice columnist.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Wrote, this idea of the beginning of using rent-free
Hmm.
kind of came from this Ann Landers.
Oh,
It says, "However, the writer's use of the phrase was meant to advise the inflicted and insult the inflictor."
I love that.
Um,
I love that.
yeah, so
And what
there's
year was that? Do you know
it says
when
in
so 1999.
1999,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, it wrote something, that actually, maybe she didn't actually write Rent Free, but she wrote something that, like,
Yeah.
inspired it.
Yeah, for sure. She kind of moved the trend of that phrase away from you said it was an insult before?
Yeah,
Something
well,
like
it
that?
says okay, if I just
Yeah.
read it, it says, "Hanging on to resentment is letting someone you despise live rent-free in your head.
Yeah.
Landers used rent-free as a way that instantly made us think of all the times we held on to hate and revenge. This was
Yeah.
possibly the first time rent-free was used to denote thoughts and thinking. How
Okay.
eventually,
Okay.
when it made it online, people used it as an insult in the framework of resentment." So, guys,
Hmm, mhm.
you can go ahead. We gave you the name for this article. It was "What does rent-free slang mean and how to use it?" So you can
Mhm.
read more into it, how it was made, who
Yeah.
developed it, who inspired it, things like that.
Yeah, it is kind of cool, if you're like a columnist or a writer or just any kind of icon, you can create new phrases that didn't exist before or change the
Mhm.
meaning of them. It's pretty cool, right?
Uh-huh, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. But basically the idea of how it's used now is,
Mhm.
just something it's taking up space and it shouldn't. So let's do
Yeah.
some examples. So first off, I feel like it's a lot of times used maybe about a person.
Mm.
So for example,
Yeah.
don't let her live in your mind rent free. She was so mean to you and she's not worth it.
Right. So this could be a context could be maybe you had a business partner that things didn't go well and now you're really still concerned about the situation and everything's over but you're still obsessing about it or it could be a breakup like someone you
Yeah.
had dated and then they just ghosted you and
Yeah.
then you obsess over them for many years or many months.
Right.
Can you
Right.
think of any other scenarios, Michelle, where that this might I mean that this the two that come to mind is business partnership or just like a friend that kind of
Yeah,
became a
oh yeah,
frenemy. I don't know.
a friendship that went sour that,
Went
maybe
sour, yeah.
you think over it too much and,
Mhm.
it's not you have to let something go.
Yeah, so, do you want me to, read the second sentence
Sure.
here? Second example? She let her toxic relationship with her roommate live in her mind rent-free for way too long. Ooh, that's tough.
Mhm.
Roommates are really tough because, you know, when you go home, it should be your safe
Yes.
space. And if you don't feel totally safe, I don't mean physically safe, like emotionally safe, or things are just not good with your roommate, it really messes up things big
Yeah,
time.
you should feel relaxed. Yeah, I mean, I think I've
Yeah.
told you I had a very
Yes.
negative experience, so I know how that
Yeah.
feels.
Yeah.
It's, very,
Yes.
very uncomfortable to go home to where you live and feel not relaxed and feel on edge.
It's really, really uncomfortable. I've had my days with roommates too.
Mhm.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking. So like, these are good examples. Roommates, business partners, friends, partner, like romantic
Yeah.
partners. These
Yeah.
are all examples of people that could live rent free in your mind.
Yes, exactly.
Right. Michelle, let's keep talking about this because this is kind of going into like a bigger topic around mental health, the
Mhm.
awareness of mental health in our culture.
Right, and also I'm wondering if I mean, because apparently this, rent-free, the idea of it has been around for quite some time, but I think that it's become more popular to use it just maybe in the past few years because there has been kind of a shift in the look at mental health in our culture. What do you think?
Oh my gosh, 100%. There's been kind of a renaissance in a way, or I'm not sure if that's the right word, but there's been a resurgence, or not really a resurgence, an awakening
Yeah.
in our culture to realize it's okay. Like, we all have minds. We all struggle with our own things in our heads. And it is okay to admit if you need to work with a therapist, right? It's super
Mhm.
common. Or just to talk about like things you're struggling with, things you're anxious about. We now realize as a culture, and I think the pandemic did
Yeah,
something
I
to
think
move
so
that
too. I
along.
was gonna say.
And also the awakening of, like, online therapy. Companies like BetterHelp, for example,
Yeah.
we're not sponsored by BetterHelp, but, the Talkspace is another one, I think, where
Oh,
you
yeah,
can actually go
Talkspace.
online and have a therapist online now. That's really changed in the last few years too. So
Right. So I think just this idea, like these kinds of expressions, I mean, I'm sure there are other ones, but like I just think in general, talking about mental health has become there's been I don't know, there's still unfortunately, I think there's still a stigma, but I think people are trying to end that more than in the past.
I think, yeah, and I think the stigma in my experience is still lingering more in my parents' generation.
Mm.
Rather than our generation. Like, I think millennials, they're doing it. Like, they're really like they're a lot of millennials that I know are really modern and they realize it, like, they admit when they're vulnerable and they're struggling with something. When I talk to, like, my parents and my parents' friends, it's the idea of going to therapy is a no-go, like a
Yeah.
non-starter. It's
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is interesting. Yeah, I mean, even yeah, I find that if I talk to friends, like sometimes they'll just be like, "Oh, I was with my therapist," and it's like
Oh,
nothing.
yeah. Yes.
It just
Yes.
doesn't.
Yes.
People will just throw out the word, and it's
Yes.
totally different. So yeah, I mean, Lindsay,
100%.
what do you do? We're talking about like things living in your mind rent free. Is there anything you do to let go of negative thoughts? I mean, I know you're big into meditation. Does that help?
Meditation helps for sure. A regular meditation practice, a meditation group that I sit with every 2 weeks helps. In the During the workday, if I'm struggling, not so much negative thoughts, like not so much ruminate. We're talking about rumination today,
Mhm.
right? Ruminating. But when I'm just struggling with a challenge that I can't figure out, more like problem solving, I'll go for a walk. So physical movement. That really
Mm.
makes a
Oh,
difference. What about you,
interesting.
Michelle? What do you do? Like, what's your go-to?
What's my go-to if something's oh, well, the worst is when it would happen at night, and then,
Oh, yeah.
like, when
Mm.
you're in bed thinking about it, and then what are you gonna do? But yeah, the best thing for me has been to get up and move around. But I agree with what you say about physical movement. I always feel better after
Oh,
I've
it's
even just
amazing.
gone for a walk, just change my scenery
Oh
is
my gosh.
huge.
It's
Just
amazing.
it's crazy what it can do.
And it's kinda counterintuitive, right? Because you think, "I have to sit here, hunker down, figure this out,"
Yeah.
but actually getting away from where you are, changing the air you're breathing, get some fresh air, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. So, let's talk about some related expressions. So the first one is taking up too much space in your head.
Yes. Yes.
So you could say something like Stacy is taking up too much space in his head. He needs to move on.
Yep, totally. So that one is just it's saying really the same thing.
Same idea.
It's just wordier. You know, or to be stuck on something. She was
Mhm.
stuck on the conversation she had with her boss. It left her really sour, right? And that's a
Mhm.
great bonus word for today too.
Mhm.
Sour. What does that mean?
It's like this, like, bad feeling, to have a bad feeling. Like when you have a lemon and you make a face like, it's like to have that feeling.
Totally, yeah, exactly. Sour, sour. And then
Or
what's
maybe
another
or
one?
maybe you're a little resentful too.
Resentful, it's a special kind of feeling for sure. Maybe we'll do another episode on, I don't know, how food relates to feelings or something.
I think we have done that episode because
Oh,
I've thought of
no.
doing it again, and then I look, and then we've done it. So I think we
Salty,
did, like, sweet
salty,
and sour
sweet.
and
Oh, geez, okay, we've done
yeah,
it,
I
we've done
know, it's
it.
all I know, I know. It's so exciting when you think of one, and then it's like, "Wow, we really have quite the catalog."
Guys, go back into the catalog, there are some real gems back there, go and
Yes,
find them. Yes.
exactly. So another thing you could say is, to keep replaying something in your head. So you could say, "I keep replaying what happened over and over in my head. I think I'll meditate and try and stop it."
Mhm. Yes, good, okay, let's do a role play, shall we?
All right, so here we go. We are friends, and you were telling me about you were talking to me about a friendship that I lost. So something
Oh,
happened with my friendship, not friends anymore. Okay,
okay.
here we go. I'm just so bummed. We were best friends. I keep replaying our last fight over and over in my head.
I know, I'm so sorry. The thing is, she's taking up too much space in your head. She doesn't deserve that.
I know, I'm stuck on the whole thing.
Well, don't let her live in your mind rent free. You deserve better.
Thanks.
It's true. I mean, sometimes typically we think about relationships that go bad, but this can happen with friends too sometimes,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Mhm.
Have you ever had something with a friend, like, where, you went through
Mm,
a rough patch with a
yeah.
friend?
I had a situation where I think I thought there was a problem, but it turns out there wasn't. It's just that we kinda had lost touch, and after
Mhm.
many years, she kinda reconnected. We haven't fully reconnected, but she let me know that there's nothing wrong, like, we're fine. So, that's the other thing, if you let something live rent free in your head, it could be you have the wrong idea, you
Right, and you
know?
could start almost, like, making up stories, like, "Oh,
Making up
well, maybe this
stories.
happened. Oh, maybe it's 'cause of this," and you realize
Yes.
it's actually not
It's
that true.
not personal, it's
Yeah.
people's lives get busy and things change, you know?
Mhm,
So,
mhm.
yeah, this has happened to me before for sure.
Yeah,
Let's go through this here,
let's
Michelle,
do
for
it.
our listeners. Yeah? Okay. What do
Okay,
we say?
so here we go. So, I said, "I keep replaying our last fight over and over in my head."
Yeah, so replaying over and over. And the reason I love the rent-free thing is just easier to say it because all these other examples are just they're long,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because you said, "I know, I'm sorry. The thing is she's taking up too much space in your head." Yes, that's
Yep,
fine. That means the same thing, right?
and I said, "I'm stuck on the whole thing."
And then I dropped the phrase of the day, right? Don't let her
Phrase of
live
the
in your
day.
mind rent free. Good.
Yes.
Mhm.
Whew, this was a good one. Lindsay, this I love our listener asking this question. This is such a current expression. We talked today about culture, how things have changed, mental health. This led us down a whole path of expressions,
Yeah.
but so much more than that. So,
Yeah.
guys, we hope that no one is living in your mind rent free who shouldn't be there. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah,
any other thoughts, Lindsay?
100%. Yeah, no, this is it, right? Don't give people too much space. Only give people the space that they deserve. That's one thing I think I'm learning as I get a little bit older, is life is short. Um, you
Mhm.
know, just keep the good people in and the toxic people out. I think that's a good method to do it,
That's
right?
good. Yep.
And I also love our cultural change that we've seen in the last 5 years is coming around to addressing our needs inside and outside, right? Our
Yeah.
minds and our bodies. It's not just about how much money we make, it's about how do we feel? Do we feel
Yeah.
healthy? Are we good? If not, let's reach out and use our resources, right?
Love it. Okay. Well,
Mhm.
on that note, all right, we will talk to you guys on the next episode and have a very happy day.
All right, Michelle, take care. Bye.
Bye.